Howdy folks, Sam here. I do hope you're well. I wanted to take today to talk a little bit more about this concept of dancing around root notes and using, a fixed point to give us a sort of frame of reference when we're improvising, building upon the lesson we looked at last time. And then I thought I'd wrap up this little sort of short series on second position blues by looking at some more Muddy Waters themes and standards and, just get your ears working to listen to a harmonica player or a harmonica player playing a riff and then being able to pick it up by ear, because that's such an important thing. And then in the next lesson, we'll look at another blues position called third position, and that's a whole new concept, so we'll look at that then. But that's what we're going to do today. As always, do please like, share, subscribe. If you have a little bit of cash, feel free to donate something. If you want a one-to-one lesson, we can book that in. All the details are below the video. So building on the concept we looked at last time of dancing around notes, I talked about dancing around the four, which is both the four chord and the four blow. It's our first change in the 12-bar blues. That offers quite a nice little sort of paradigm for me to sort of show you what a harmonica player is doing when they're improvising over the changes at a jam or in their band or whatever, is that they're taking those safe notes, and we've looked at them in the past, we did that exercise. And what have you. We also did other exercises like and so on and so forth. I'm giving you sort of safe notes and safe little riffs that will act as the foundation for your improvs, and use those. And to take my little metaphor of adding in the notes that don't fit to give you some contrast, which we spoke about last time, use those notes, those safe notes, as the foundation for you to dance. I always call it dancing around the notes. Dancing around the four is what we looked at last time. Now dance around the one. And then when you go to the change, the last four bars, dance around the five. A little bit of contrast on the four, come back. Things like that will just spice up your playing. Now, there's sort of two approaches to this. What I was doing just there, which is, quite, basic stuff, was staying very close within the notes. So the tendency with, dancing almost too close to the root notes or too close to the thirds or the fifths or whatever note you're going to choose, is that you do just sort of get boxed in and you can only move by steps. I can't just, I'm playing every sort of note within the scale and I'm moving through it. You want to contrast that with sort of leaps in your playing as well. You want to be able to go just making big jumps, possibly to the octave, to the fifth, up 2 octaves, you want to be comfortable making those leaps and bounds, so you're not always just playing close to the note and what have you, because otherwise you just get a little bit too boxed in. And the arpeggios we looked at last time are good exercises for helping you make those leaps to, notes that are safe and fit. So that would be the example for G. But the other thing you can do is just play straight octaves. That would be G, C, D, and what have you. You can experiment with things like that, have some fun with things like that. Just when you're playing, just go and just see where you wind up and get used to those jumps, those intervals. And when the turnaround comes, those last 4 bars of a 12-bar blues, which we haven't spoken of yet, so I'll talk a little bit about that. That's when having these safe notes comes into play, because, you're not just... the first 4 bars of a 12-bar blues is quite boring, it's just the same chord. But the last 4 bars, where you've got 3 chords at least that you're going to have to navigate over, at least in a simple 12-bar blues, If it's a more complex 12-bar blues, then you're going to have, or a jazz 12-bar blues, then you're going to have something a lot more. So using those root notes really, really helps. Something like... That's one way that I navigate it. That's quite a good riff, actually. Maybe I can slow that down. Just see if you can listen and play along with me. So starting on the 2 drum. Up to the 4, so I'm going from 2 down to the 1, then back up to the 4. You know, that's a very good way to play a turnaround. I'll play it a bit slower for you. I don't want to do this thing now. We've gotten to a stage where you should be able to start looking at me and using your ear to figure out what I'm doing. But I'll call out a few sort of, I suppose, corner notes so that you know what you're doing. So stop that, see if you can pick up that lick by ear. And on that sort of little segue, let's look at some Muddy Waters songs, which I'm also hoping that you can pick up by ear. So in the past, we've looked at some classic Muddy Waters riffs, Manish Boy and Hoochie Coochie Man, and we've looked at some variations of them as well, and I hope you enjoy playing those as much as I do, because they are favourites of mine. But let's take a look at some of his other songs, and some of his other classics. We'll look at a few things like Got My Mojo Working and what have you. I wanted to start with this one called I Want to Be Loved, and I will play it. I don't know if my phone will pick it up in the background, but let's see what happens. So that's a lovely little riff right there, and it's on a C harmonica, which is perfect because we got one of those. He's just hitting the 4 blow, half step bend on the 3, and then he's doing a whole step bend on the 2, and he's rolling up, so he's doing a whole step, half step bend, and then it's probably easier to play a blow 3 to just give yourself a point of comparison, but you can do a draw 2 if you want, just to get that G. So it's... And then there's another section in a second. Baby. Now it comes to the chorus. Oh, I'm playing other stuff. So all he's doing there is he's hitting the 3 half step bend and just dancing around it, playing around it. Because he's not really playing, I suppose, how you'd normally play second position. He's playing around it a little bit differently. He's not going... or something like that. He's really focusing on the bend notes on this. He needs that F and that B flat. I haven't actually played it on a guitar. I'd be interested to know if this is actually in a G blues or an F blues. I wouldn't be surprised if it was an F. And he's just playing around. That 3/2 step bend would be one of the safe notes. That 4 blow is one of the safe notes. And that whole step bend on the 2 would be a safe note as well. Just playing around there, and he's just playing a few turnarounds. Have a play of that. That's I Want to Be Loved. Another great Muddy riff that's from that Hard Again album, which I believe has got the fantastic James Cotton on, is the song Cross-Eyed Cat, which is also on a C harmonica, but it sounds a little bit different. I'll play it to you real quick, and then I'll show you what's going on there. That's where he plays it, haha. So that's an interesting lick because it's starting on F, or the 5 draw, which is not normally a starting note for a blues. And it's also going to the 5 blow, which is E natural, which is, again, that's always a note that harmonica players have to sort of smooth into the blues. We're doing that, we're going... So 5 draw, 5 blow, 4 draw, 4 blow, and then 3 draw back to the 4 blow. So he's just playing around with that riff, but then when he goes to the 4 chord first, he hits the 2 draw. He makes that his bass note, which is fine because, you know, that's G, and G is the 5th of C major and what have you, and then he's got his little notes that he can play around there. Then he's going to the turnaround, and he actually holds the 4 blow through the change, and then 1 bar, bends it a little bit, and then he just does that little roll down, which is just sliding over the 3 to get that 2 draw, which is a bit of a classic blues there. Great song. I love that album. What else can we look at by Muddy? One of my favorite intros on a Muddy track is Blues Had a Baby and They Named It Rock and Roll, because it's very breathy, and he moans into the microphone, which is just cool. Super easy. I think he's doing that on a D harmonica, and don't get worried about buying stuff. I'll do a lesson about buying other harmonicas in a week or so you can hold your wallet until then, but you know, that's really simple stuff, but sounds awesome, right? And you can take your C harmonica and you can play the same riff. It's just going to be in a different key. It's just that 4 draw bend. You know, that 4 draw bend up to a blow and just sliding down the instrument. It's quite lazy when you think about it. And then just playing around with the 2 draw, just getting that rhythm to bring the band in. Very similar to Sonny Boy Williamson, who we've already looked at, and is also absolutely amazing. That leads me into another sort of classic riff, which has got my mojo working, which is one that I play with my band. That's normally done on a lower harmonica. That's normally done on an A harp, but we can play it on a C harp. That's absolutely fine. Similar start. what have you, you know. We're not going to do all of that, but by all means, pause the video, slow and break down what I was doing there. We've covered pretty much everything that I was doing there. Got my mojo working. It's starting in on that 4-draw with a bend, but then we're doing that play off between the 4-blow and the 3 half-step bend, going back to the 2-draw, and a little slight bend on the 2-draw as well. Just repeating that, just playing that. That's such a great introduction. It just immediately gets you going. In the old days, it was played by the piano player when Little Walter was playing with the Muddy Waters band. But then gradually people like Walter Horton and James Cotton just said, that's such a good riff. I'm going to have that. Thank you very much, Thank you very much, Pinetop Perkins, right? You know. And I did some other stuff there. You could see me rolling, just assuming that the singer was now singing. I'm just rolling in the background. And then ad-libbing around it. So break down what I was playing there. Use your ears. You're at the point in your playing where you can listen to players like this. Even if they are playing on a different key harmonica, you can tell if they're playing low or if they're playing in the middle or if they're playing high. And just break down the riff in a way that suits you. You know, listening, using your ears to figure things out is crucial. So I'm rambling. I hope I've given you some fun things to get on with there. I've certainly had a lot of fun. I always have fun when I play Muddy. And yeah, next lesson we're going to talk about 3rd position, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Take care of yourselves in the meantime. Ciao.